So my name is Diagne. I am 35. I currently head the projects monitoring department. And basically we, as the delivery unit for the Senegal Emerging Plan, we monitor and we actually do problem solving for all the flagship projects and reforms in Senegal Emerging Plan. 27 projects, 17 currently executed, and I have a team within my department of 8 people. I had the projects monitoring department. We have currently 17 projects launched and under execution, and for each of these projects there is one project manager who has been appointed by the President of Senegal, His Excellency Macky Sall. And so we do the coordination in terms of execution, the monitoring, and the problem solving, plus reporting to the authorities. We had, I would say, 3 types of, not training, but kind of programs that we were involved in. First one was a team building. Very interesting approach. It came at the right moment because we were building the team, the core team, I would say, of the BOS microstructure, and so it enabled us to create the links and know each other better, aside work, like I would say classic approach of work. We had 2 days, full days of not training but really team building, and a frequent approach was very interesting, as they allowed us to rediscover ourselves. I would just say to be able to cut the barriers, put everyone on the same level, do all kind of exercises and games that was really challenging, and we actually learned a lot about ourselves, about one another, and as a group, to finish up as a real team, as we needed to be one to succeed with our mission. So that was the first one. The second one was about classic tools for monitoring and evaluation. When I say classic tools, I'm talking about logical frame. I'm talking about how you measure results. We call it in French cadre de mesure de résultats. And so we had a specific training and some consultants that work with us to be able to guide us, show the kind of tools that we needed to use and to get familiar with, and then help them to use it as part of our job, and how to be able to construct this kind of logical framework to be able to plan and forecast everything during the lifetime of a project. So it was, we had 2 different sessions. Again, coach, I would say, by Africa Lead. And it was wider than the first one, knowing that the first one was only the BOS team. And the second and third where it was extended to the project managers. So we had more people involved. It was larger in terms of group. It was more technical, very useful in terms of methodology, but we still needed to have some more practical tools to be able to answer the need of the president, because we are in office of the presidency of Senegal, to be able to have a real clear vision in terms of where the execution is for each of the projects and the reform in the portfolio of the Senegal Emerging Plan. So after the second step in terms of methodology, we had a third approach, which was, I would say, the goal of the seminar at the very beginning of this year, 2016. And it was, again, larger than the previous one. So we had the BOS team, we had the project managers, and we had more structures involved in terms of execution, mainly public structures. And the goal at this stage was to be able to define what we call in French taux d'avancement global, which is it's a rate where you can measure from 0 to 100 where, in terms of execution, your project or your reform is. Saying, okay, let's say you are 20% advanced. It means that you have done all your studies, you've secured your financing, you've secured the land, and you're about to start the execution. So be able to define that kind of tools, which is very simple in terms of approach, but very complex to define in terms of rationale, in terms of methodology, to be able to cover the whole scope of Senegal Emerging Plan, was a real challenge. And I would say that Africa Lead, we also had a consultant in this frame previously to the seminar, and we had 3 days of intense work. The outcome, the impact of this work has led to a tremendous change in terms of monitoring and also in terms of visibility for the head of state for his portfolio of priority projects and reforms. So it led to a new dashboard, because we have a weekly updated dashboard that we sent to the Council of Ministers and of course the President. And now we have included this quantitative approach. So these specific rates in terms of execution, in terms of advancement for each of the projects and the reforms are now on the table of the President and all his ministers every week, refresh on a monthly basis, roughly I would say, maybe on a trimester level for some, and it gives them the real vision in terms of execution we were looking for from the very beginning. And this is all because Africa Lead has taught us, has, I would say, led us, has enabled us to reach that point, and we are very thankful for everything that has been achieved through this help. Logical frameworks, it wasn't clear from my perspective and my team perspective. It wasn't clear to us, like how should we proceed to be able to reach the objective that we have. What are the steps that we need to go through? Which methodology should we use? What are the tools that are available and what's fitted to our needs? It was all questions that didn't have a clear answer when we were just by ourselves. And with the help of Africa Lead, its staff and the consultant that they actually provide us with, we have been able to walk through this process and reach the goals and objectives that we had. So yes, we had some in mind, but we did not have the clues to be able to actually do what we wanted to do just by ourselves. With the help of Africa Lead, this kind of exercise that we've done, which is planning at the very beginning of each year the execution and the forecasts for each of the projects and reforms on a yearly basis, has become a norm. So we have now already started the preparation for the next event, which is late December. So we've learned from our experience, but now we open it up to the private sector, because the private sector plays a major role in the Senegal Emerging Plan, whether on a national or international basis. We used to say that 2/3 of the financing and the effort is coming from the private sector to be able to reach the major goals of the Senegal Emerging Plan on a 10-year basis. So the new approach is to be able to include them in terms of monitoring all the execution of the plan. It's not the same approach that you can have with public structures, because it's a different types of player, and now we need to be able to open up to them. So it's a new challenge, and Africa Lead will be able to again assist us to be able to concretely, I would say, succeed this um, new opening for the local private sector. So that's one part. And the second part, I would say, in terms of going forward with Africa Lead, it's another wider part. It's how to be able to make sure that all the data, all the information that we actually put on the table of the president is the real one, is accurate, is by no means attackable. No one can question it. We just want to make sure that the data that we actually publish is accurate, is the right one, and it is the case especially for the primary sector, for agriculture. It is very difficult today to be able to make sure that every data, every stat that is released is the right one, because it is widespread all over the country. It's smallholder farmers that don't have access to any kind of, I would say, frame where it's very clear to I would say aggregate and get the data from their local production. So we will need to be able to establish a framework, establish the links from the basis, from the smallholder farmers, through the organization, through the, I would say, ministries that are actually working in these areas, in these regions, and the central level, to be able to have the whole process secured and the data that are not attackable. So it is another challenge, a major challenge that hasn't been actually tackled today, because it needs a lot of efforts, it needs a lot of studies, it needs a lot of means to be able to reach it. So we already started to talk about it with Africa Lead, and as part of their agriculture focus, which is very deep, they will be able, I think, to assist us in this perspective. Now, I just wanted to thank Africa Lead for all the help that they've been provided to the BOS and to the Senegal Emerging Plan. On my name and the name of my structure and all the project managers and all the structures that work with us, we are very thankful for their cooperation. They really listen to our needs, and so far it's been a very fruitful cooperation, and I hope that it will strengthen our links into the future.